Thank you so much for that lovely introduction and for calling me here today to be with all of you. It's lovely to be a part of any VK program and to meet fellow spiritual people. So today's topic is appreciating yourself. And I feel like it's a very underrated thing because I know that recently, we've all learned the art of appreciation. We all know that it's so important to appreciate people around you, appreciate people you work with. It motivates the team, it motivates people. But in all this, a lot of times we forget to appreciate ourselves. And usually we're very hard on ourselves. And the reason I chose this topic is after coming into Gyan, after coming into the spiritual path of, sorry, excuse my cold and cough. So after coming into Brahmakumaris, the biggest change that I've seen in myself is that I have learned to accept myself. And then that's the first step, accepting yourself and then appreciating yourself. And that is something I never used to do. I didn't know how to do. And that's what God has taught me because that was lacking in my life. So we will talk a little bit about that today. Maybe I'll share a little bit of my experience. Then we'll do this activity to test how much we appreciate ourselves. And then if you have any questions for me, you can ask me and I will try to answer it. So like the sister already introduced me, but I'm an artist, illustrator, designer, and I work from home. But a few years back, I used to work in corporate communications. And when you work outside and you come across people, you realize, and you work in that environment, which is competitive, which is worldly, where values of different people are very, very different. You realize the need for spirituality even more. And so I've realized that when I'm around those kind of people and that kind of environment, which is maybe not as spiritual as I am, and values are different, I feel the need for spirituality even more because it gives me the strength inside to be able to face all that, to deal with it without letting it affect my mind. So when we talk about appreciating ourselves, we cannot do that unless we first accept ourselves. And these days, actually, since a very long time, the whole society and culture has conditioned human beings to be more critical about themselves. I don't know about everywhere, but especially in India, right? Indian society is like, don't praise yourself too much. You're supposed to be modest. You're not supposed to, you're not supposed to focus on your mistakes more. You might have done this right, but look at what you did wrong. And maybe that's the mindset with which we all grow up for some reason. And so usually what we do is we focus on things that didn't go very well. Like, okay, I worked on this project, or I worked on this, but look at what didn't go right. I should have done it like this instead. I shouldn't have done this. I shouldn't have said this. ऐसा किया होता तो ज़्यादा अच्छा होता. So, we focus on things that didn't go well and that we should have done differently. But we forget that in one project that we did, there might be so many little things that we have done well and that we have done right and that have gone correct, but we don't even notice those. So I think it's time to take a pause and just see what we are actually doing right as well, because it's not good to just focus on the negatives or just focus on things that are not going well. So the first step is to accept that we are not perfect, and it's okay. It's okay to not be perfect. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to do something not on purpose, of course, but if it happens, it's all right. So that's what God taught me. That's what Baba taught me. When I came into Gyan, I was a person who had very little self-esteem all my life growing up. I don't know why. but I had very low self-esteem. I didn't respect myself enough, I guess. And even as a kid, I was very shy. I was very reserved. I couldn't speak in front of people. I remember when I was in school, when we had to go in front of the class and give our Viva exams orally in front of the whole class, my mind would go blank and I just couldn't talk. And from there to come to this level where I can actually conduct sessions or conduct Vihasa is a huge, huge step, which I never thought was possible in my life. And it's all thanks to, God and sisters who encouraged me, who pushed me. So how did that change happen? So I don't know, slowly, as in when you get into spirituality, you start practicing it, you start meditating. The first thing that you do is you reconnect with yourself. Who am I? And that connection is very important because, as some of you might know, we feel like I am my name, I am my profession, I am my nationality. But these are just tags for the body, right? And I'm not just the body, I'm in the body. But there is an energy or consciousness that is running this body, that is deciding what the body should do. And that's who we need to connect to. So, since these sessions are all about reconnecting with yourself, the first step is to reconnect with who we are. And at one point, we were connected with who we are, but over time, we have forgotten. And when you start connecting with yourself, the energy, the consciousness, the soul, it just empowers you. It empowers you a lot. And then without even realizing it, and that was the first step for me, right? I connected with who I am. And suddenly other things didn't matter anymore. And now when I look back, I realized that I didn't appreciate myself. I didn't accept myself, which is why I was very afraid of what other people would think of me. So I used to worry, if I do this, what will they think? If I do that, what will they think? If I say something wrong, what will people think of me? And maybe that's why I was very shy, reserved. I couldn't be myself around people, maybe not even myself because I was so judgmental of myself. But slowly, when you start reconnecting with who you really are, you start accepting who you are. And it gives you this sort of inner strength. And the stronger you become in your connection with yourself, and then God comes next. But even in just your connection with yourself, you start appreciating your values, who you are, what God has given you, what God has made you. And slowly you stop caring about what other people think. And when you stop caring about what other people think, because when you are full of appreciation for yourself, respect for yourself, love for yourself, you don't look for it outside anymore. So I feel I can say that I've reached a stage where I'm not looking for love, respect, or appreciation from other people anymore because I found it within myself. And now I can just be myself because now I don't care what other people think. I'm not, so all my life I've been overthinking things, and now I can just be, now I can just think what I need to do and do it instead of overthinking. So it has completely changed my life for the better. And that's where appreciating yourself comes in, accepting and appreciating yourself so you don't look for it outside. And even if you just check within the day or check yourself inside within yourself, how many times do you stop and say, oh, good job, to yourself? Like, oh, you did this really well, or you did that really well, or even just stop and say, thank you, God, this went well, better than I thought. Usually, we're so focused on the negatives or the waste thoughts, wherein we say, this should have been better, this should have been like this should have been like that. So, if you just stop and check right now within yourself, what are the, like, do I appreciate things gone well? Do I have gratitude for things gone well, whether it's gratitude towards myself or towards God? Or do I complain more? So I'm sure all of us do both. We complain sometimes as well, and we are grateful sometimes. But what do we do more of? Do we complain more or are we grateful more? So that's something to do a self check on, I feel. And I have an activity for all of us to do, which will help us analyze this aspect within ourselves. So I'll just quickly share my screen. Okay, and we'll see how whether we appreciate ourselves or not. And if not, today we're gonna, through this exercise, try and appreciate at least something about ourselves. So another reason why we should appreciate ourselves, right? When we're thinking about our own selves in a good way, then we are in touch with who we really are. And like I told you, it is essential in building self-esteem, and that is my personal experience. Because when you're appreciating yourself, you're just giving yourself that value, that respect, that love, and you just become a positive person because of it. Also, you start seeing yourself the way God sees you, which is so important. And God always sees us in our best, the best version of ourselves. And maybe we are not completely there yet, but that is the aim. The aim is to be the best version of ourselves that we can be. And it starts with appreciating that we have the capacity and the capabilities to be the best version of ourselves. So one is that if we are positive, then also we start spreading that positivity around us. So like I said, in Indian society, people are very against taking appreciation also. If somebody tells you, oh, you have such a beautiful voice, and or anything, whatever little praise or compliment they give you, we usually say, no, nothing like that. It's quite okay. So we are so against accepting a compliment as well, right? And that's just conditioning that we've grown up with. But I think it's time to change that. And why can't we appreciate, if other people can appreciate certain skills and talents in us, why can't we? So it's important to acknowledge your skills, your talents, your when people compliment you, just accept it and then give it to God and say thank you, and then thank you, God, for giving me this skill, giving me this talent, or allowing me to learn this. So it's okay to accept praise. It's okay to appreciate yourself like other people sometimes appreciate you. And the fact that we don't appreciate ourselves and the fact that we criticize ourselves is just a habit. So we can change it. It's okay if till now we have not been doing that, if we've not been appreciating ourselves, if till now we have been very critical about the small mistakes that we make, and we focus on it so much that it wastes a lot of our time and energy. So it's okay if that's what you've been doing till now, because I know I've done that for so many years of my life, but it's just a habit and you can change it. So the first exercise that we're going to do is identify certain positive qualities in ourselves. What positive thoughts have I had about myself? Okay. So here are 4 questions. There are going to be 4 questions in front of you, and I'm going to read them all out. Take 5 minutes for 4 questions, no more. Do not overthink this at all. If you have a pen and paper, it would be good for you to write it down. Otherwise, just think about it. But don't overthink. Spontaneously. Whatever comes to mind, answer with that. Number 1, what qualities have I shown in this week while talking to others? And positive qualities, okay, because we're talking about identifying our positive qualities. So what are the positive qualities you have shown while talking with others this week? Either it's today, yesterday, anytime during the week. Second question is, what positive thoughts have I had about others? Have I had positive thoughts about others? If I have, what are they? Third question is, what positive thoughts have I had about myself? And the fourth question is, what have I done well this week? So in this entire week, what are some of the things that I did well? Okay, so let's take a few minutes. Maybe we can take 3-4 minutes, and you can just quickly, in 1 minute per question, write down maybe a sentence or a few qualities that you can identify in your own behavior. Because behavior is the best way to identify our qualities, comes into our action. So what qualities have I shown this week while talking to others? Can be talking to anybody. When you're done, you can let me know, so then we'll move on. Second question is, what positive thoughts have I had about others? And it could be about anyone, your family, your friends, your colleagues, or people around you. What positive thoughts have I had for others? So you can just write down a few thoughts. Third one is, what positive thoughts have I had for myself, about myself? And what have I done well this week? It could be anything. It could be something as small as smiling at somebody who needed it. Doesn't have to be something big. Can be just one small positive thing that I have done well this week. Okay, so whoever's ready, if y'all want to share a few answers, and you don't have to be specific, you can share as much as you are comfortable with. But if anyone would like to share, what they've written for these questions, like what are the positive qualities about others, about yourself, what are the positive qualities you identified while talking to people or done well, you can. So this is an interactive activity, okay? So please feel free to start your audio or write it down on chat, whatever's easier for you. And you can maybe share some of the answers. So does anyone want to do that? Are you comfortable enough to do that? You can share in Hindi or English, whatever you're comfortable with. So does anyone want to share? Even on chat is okay. So you'll notice that when you do this kind of activity, you realize that in every small thing that you do, you use positive qualities. And it could be anything. Like today, I gave someone a genuine compliment when I was talking to her in the morning. I shared with her, how I felt about her, and like that she's a good friend and I enjoy her company and things like that. So that's something good because it makes people feel good. You're using a positive quality. Then in thoughts about myself, I know that there was an instance where I thought, oh, I could have done this better. I should have done it like this. But then I let it go. It's okay that it didn't happen the way I wanted it to happen. And I'm okay. It's okay. I did the best I could at that time. I did the best according to the knowledge I had at that time. And it's okay if now I feel I could have done better. So those are the kind of situations that come to us, and when we answer these kind of questions, we realize. So another question that I would like to ask you all to think about is, was it challenging to be positive about yourself? Because usually people find it easier to praise others and look at positive qualities in others, but they find it difficult to think of positive qualities for themselves. So even with just a yes or no, you can write down on chat, was it challenging to think, to be positive about yourself? Was it challenging? So you can just write yes or no in the chat box, so I know. And why is it useful to have positive thoughts about oneself? So Sanjay Bhai writes in chat, it is actually challenging to be positive when in body consciousness. So when you are thinking of yourself as a body, it is challenging to be positive about yourself. Prashant Bhai writes, we get influenced by a lot of negativity around us. Yes. So it is because, again, conditioning, that's how we've been brought up, that's what we've seen around us, wherein we have to be nice to other people, we praise other people, but we don't do it for ourselves. So a lot of people find it easy to be positive for other people, but when it comes to ourselves, we are more negative than positive. But why is it useful and acceptable to have positive thoughts about oneself? So if we have to be positive, we have to understand why is it important. It's not just that we have to be positive because I'm saying so, but we have to understand, why should I be positive about myself? Why should I accept myself? Why should I appreciate myself? It's very important to do that. And I'll tell you why. Because when you start appreciating yourself, you start accepting yourself, acceptance is a value, it's a virtue, and you cannot be selective about applying it. Once you start accepting yourself, automatically that power of acceptance comes to everything and everyone around you. And it's a power, it's a virtue, it's a value, it helps you. The power of tolerance, the power of acceptance, it is a power. Because when we realize that a lot of times things around us are the way they are, it teaches us to be accepting of other people, other situations around us. And so when we start accepting ourselves, we automatically start accepting others. And we don't expect them then. So accept is one thing, expect is one thing. The more acceptance power we have, our expectations go lower and we just are happier. So they both work like that. And appreciation. Once we have more appreciation for ourselves, we will stop looking for it outside. So we will not say, you didn't tell me that I did a good job. You didn't tell me, even though I went out of my way to do this for you. So you'll stop depending on other people to appreciate you or notice the small things that you do, because you'll have enough appreciation for yourself. And when you start, and both these qualities are positive, right? They are things that you're valuing about yourself. They're positive, good vibrations come out of feeling these things. And so when you have good vibes radiating out of you because you're just happy, you're just, appreciating yourself, accepting yourself, you're in a good space, good vibes automatically radiate out of you and they just go to people around you. Energy and vibes just go to people around us, right? It becomes our aura, it becomes the positive energy that is around us. And so other people around us will automatically be more peaceful, happier, content when they're around you. Like, you should have that much power to spread the happiness and positivity around. And it starts with the self. Everything starts with the self. So it's very important to reconnect with who you are, reconnect with yourself as the soul, not just the body, and accept yourself. So, like God told us, even today, one of the messages that God gave us was put a full stop. Past is the past. So, put a full stop to waste thoughts, put a full stop to everything that you don't require anymore, and just transform your thoughts from negative to positive. And that's what we need to do for ourselves. Put a full stop to whatever past actions we did that we are not happy with. Do not be self-critical. Don't judge yourself for things that you did in the past. Maybe you didn't know any better. Maybe you didn't have the strength to change even though you knew better. But you need, not only do you need knowledge, but you need inner strength to make a change. So maybe you didn't have both those things. And so you did what you did, and that's okay. But now you know better. And now you'll try and not make that mistake again. So accept that I'm not perfect and appreciate that I'm ready to change, that I'm ready to learn, and I'm ready to grow. So I hope my experience and that little activity was helpful. Maybe that could just be a self-check for yourself. Even whenever you feel like, am I being too negative, you can just ask yourself these simple questions about when was I positive today? How did I talk to people? And generally, our behavior tells us what's happening inside if it's not clear to us. So I hope today's session was interesting for y'all. I don't know, I just thought I would share my experience and my learnings. We can end with a meditation, but before that, if anyone has any questions, you can feel free to ask. So if you want to ask me anything, absolutely okay to do so. So you can even unmute yourselves and say something if you want, or you can write it down on chat. That's okay as well. And what are the techniques for self-concentration in short? So self-concentration as in concentrating on who I am, is that what you mean? Concentrating on the self, the soul. Is that what you mean, Prashanda? Is that your question? So for self-concentration, okay, great. So to concentrate on who I am, the point of light. And I think by now, all of you might have heard this a lot about, I'm not the body, but I'm the soul. And the soul is usually found, always found in the middle of your eyebrows, in the middle of your forehead. And that's the energy, that's the consciousness that is running this body, that is fueling the body, that is also giving commands to the body. And the body is just a vehicle. And so a good practice that I find very helpful is that every time when we're doing activities, we might forget. When we're caught up with things, we forget to be soul conscious. So I try and pause throughout the day, and I try to imagine that there's a bright white point of light in the middle of my forehead, shining bright. And that I am the soul, I am that energy. And then try to detach from your body in the sense that I am that energy, and I decide what the body does. I decide if I want to move my hand. I decide if I want to move my head. I decide if I want to blink my eyes. So I decide everything, and I, the soul, am making those decisions. And I'm inside the body, but I am not the body. So just to feel that, not just say these things, but to actually feel that, experience that. So I try to do that a lot. I feel has worked for me as a technique, and different things work for different people, and I can only share my experience. But that has worked for me, wherein I pause throughout the day and I just remind myself that I'm a soul, I'm a point of light, and feel that bright white light in the middle of the forehead. So I hope that answered your question, and maybe you can try. And our mind gets distracted by external physical noise. How to overcome that? Use the noise as a method of meditation. So that's something I learned a very long time ago, where a lot of people complain that I need peace to meditate, I need quiet to meditate, or people in my house are very noisy. That's something I actually say as well. But we blame people around us, we blame noises around us. So there are some noises, okay, if there are people in the house making a noise, you can at least tell them, please don't make a noise. But there might be people down the road, bhaji walas, vegetable sellers, people shouting to sell their things, whatever. Construction noise if you're living in Mumbai. But you can't stop that. You can't control that. And the world is never completely going to be quiet for you to sit and meditate and concentrate. So you have to learn to use that noise to fuel your meditation. For example, there are ways in meditation where you just allow your mind to go with the noise, right? To follow the noise. So if I just become really quiet and I'm trying to listen to all the faraway noises around me, I can hear my cooler, I can hear the birds, I can hear some faint construction noise. Yeah, right now that's all I can hear. Sometimes there are louder noises than that. Follow that noise, leave it. Don't think about it, just follow the noise. So use the noise to fuel your meditation. And a lot of times in the Brahmakumaris, we do open eye meditations more, right? Open eye meditation is where you don't have to sit and take time out and just do nothing and meditate. We do that in the morning and evenings where we take out special time to meditate. But throughout the day, we are meditating as well. So when I'm doing my work on the computer, I'm meditating. How do I do that? And that time it's not just noise, but I'm actually doing something else, right? It's about staying in your awareness. Meditation is staying in the right awareness. And the awareness is I am a soul, I am a point of light. And everyone else, if I am a soul, so is the other person, right? It's not just that I'm a soul and everyone else is a body. Everyone is a soul. So when you also are practicing the technique for self-concentration, as in concentrating that I am a soul, you also have to start seeing that point of light in the forehead of other people around you. Whoever you meet, just concentrate on the point of light in their forehead. And you can't see it with these eyes, but you can feel it, you can visualize it, and you know it's there. And once you start experiencing that within yourself, you'll know that it's true. And then you will start visualizing it for other people. And then that makes it easier. So yes, there will always be noise that will be out of your control. What is in your control is to change the way you see that noise, change the perspective of that thing coming towards you. And then it'll not bother you anymore. I hope I answered that question. Like, I hope you're content with the answer. Does anyone else have any other questions? Okay, so if there are no more questions, then we can go into a meditation commentary. So maybe I would request, yeah, thank you. Okay, so let's sit quietly. If you have anything around you that's distracting, just put it away for now. We'll just sit comfortably on your chair. You can close your eyes or keep them open. whatever is comfortable for you. Focus on your breathing. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. Just focus on your breath for a moment. And with every breath you take in, you take in love. And with every breath you put out, you remove any criticism or negativity towards yourself. So breathe in self-love. Breathe out any tension or negativity. Just think of yourself as a point of light, shining right in the middle of your forehead. So peaceful, so loving, so accepting. And you have been on such a long journey of life. Not just this life, so many lives. And we have seen so much, experienced so much, felt so much. So it's okay to feel a certain way. It's okay if we've made mistakes in the past. It's okay if we've purposely done the wrong thing because we didn't have the strength to do the right thing. It's okay, no matter what. But now, we make sure that we gather the strength to do better. It's okay to take time to gather the strength to do better. But whenever I feel low, whenever I feel like I did something wrong, I will come back to this point of light in my forehead, who has been on this huge, long journey. And I will give it a lot of love and a lot of acceptance. And I will appreciate everything that it goes through. I will appreciate the capabilities in spite of everything that it has gone through. I will give myself a lot of love. Just feel that love. And then you see above you, there's a bigger point of light, a brighter point of light, who thinks that you are perfect in every way, who thinks that you're playing your role perfectly. This big point of light, ever peaceful, ever powerful, ever loving, ocean of love and acceptance. And you just feel like that love and acceptance is surrounding you. And you're lost in that experience. It feels so good to be fully loved and accepted just the way you are. Now you focus on the point of light on your forehead again. Slowly focus on your breathing. Breathe in love. And breathe out. Focus on the rhythm of your breathing. And when you are ready, you can slowly open your eyes. Come back to the room that you are in. Come back to the session. Thank you. Om Shanti. So how was the meditation experience? Could you all visualize? Did you feel the love and appreciation? Did it feel good? Ask yourself these questions. How was it to be completely loved and appreciated? So that was today's session on appreciating yourself. And that was my experience about my journey from not really appreciating and accepting myself to where I have reached today. I hope that you learned something from it, or it was nice to hear. And I hope to see you all again soon. Thank you so much for being here with me today. Om Shanti.